So Trump has appointed an energy secretary and the director of the CIA, and let's just say Dems are not happy about either. Zelensky suddenly thinks Trump will be better than Biden. Go figure how that could be possible. And a passenger plane hit by gunfire in Texas. Diverse people throw a fit in New Zealand's parliament. We'll tell you why that's really, really rich. And we got to cover a carbon tax in Canada. Yep, another one. They're going to put another one in. We got to talk about eggs, salmon, corn oil, and more. Plus, Oil and Gas Insider says we're being lied to by the media. Yep, let's get into it, friends. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over about what's going on out there and what you guys are seeing at the stores and in your communities. We got some important updates today come from you guys, but we also have some breaking news to keep you updated on what's going on out there. Before we dive in, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. So if you have a retirement account, you can put some of it or all of it into gold, silver, or platinum. And with the stock market where it is right now, and with the way the economy is going, we know we're going into a recession, and we're actually already in a recession, but the stock market's going to react to that sooner or later. So if you want to find out more about what you can do to protect your assets, you might want to talk to Jonathan and his team. There'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, so Trump has selected Chris Wright, fracking pioneer, as the U.S. Secretary of Energy. Fracking. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I can see a fracking rig from my backyard. So, you know, at night I can go out and I can see the light. And during the day, you can kind of pick it out above the trees. Yeah, so I'm no stranger to fracking. That's happening literally in my backyard. But you can just imagine how liberals who want their green agendas all pushed are going to be super excited about the fracking pioneer being appointed energy secretary, right? Probably not going to put out too many solar panels now. John Radcliffe, Trump's former director of national intelligence, who is now being appointed the CIA director. So we're going to see what he can uncover there. He was in charge of the information coming out of the CIA being passed on to Donald Trump. Now, he was appointed that position after Trump fired Dan Coats for being a deep stater who was wrong on North Korea, basically trying to get Trump to attack North Korea, and we all kind of know how that went. Trump decided to make friends with the North Korean dictator and try to loosen things up that way. Dan Coats, of course, was wrong on ISIS and on Russia. So Dan Coats was very much in line with what the Democrats ended up doing in provoking Russia into full-on attack on Ukraine. So, yeah. Thankfully, John Radcliffe is cut from a different cloth. But you can just imagine how Democrats don't like that one either. Yeah, I just love how they're squirming right now. It's entertaining to me, and it feels like a little bit of a relief that they're the ones squirming instead of us. Ukraine President Zelensky, who said definitely that everyone should vote for Kamala, basically, is now out there saying that he's optimistic that the war will end sooner now under President Trump. So either he's just lying to suck up, I guess, or he didn't really care about the war ending. He just wanted more money being poured into the disaster in Eastern Europe. And believe me, I highly suspect that's what the case is. I mean, billions and billions have gone missing. Nobody knows where it's all gone. A lot of it's gone in cash and just went poof. We've been finding U.S. and European weapon systems being sold around the world. We're tracking it. We're seeing them pop up in Africa. We're seeing them pop up in other conflicts elsewhere. It's amazing how those weapon systems are just getting to other places. It's a miracle, really. Speaking of weapon systems, gunfire struck a Southwest plane in Texas as it was on the tarmac. This was at Dallas's Love Airport. No injuries reported, but the passengers were on the plane and taxiing on the tarmac when the plane was struck. The projectile apparently hit just behind the crew cabin, and the plane returned to the gate, and passengers deplaned after the security incident. No word yet on how that came to be, but apparently the police were able to track who actually fired those rounds, and it's possible that they were intentionally directed at the airport. So we're seeing about that. And we'll see if that person's here illegally or legally. That's another thing we're going to have to find out about that. All right, so Maori members of New Zealand Parliament began screaming their haka, which is their war chant that, if you've ever seen New Zealand athletes, they always do that little song and dance from their Maori indigenous folks. But why were they doing that in the middle of Parliament and throwing basically a hissy fit in the middle of Parliament? Well, there was a bill moving through that they didn't like, which was going to remove the special rights that the indigenous people have over all the other people in New Zealand, making basically everyone equal voting rights and equal rights before the law. And the Maori do not want to give up their special rights. Yeah. Does that seem relevant at all here? Yeah, definitely. Now, here's why that's especially rich. The Maori were not the first ones to come to New Zealand. In fact, they invaded New Zealand in 1300 AD. So around the 1300s, they invaded the islands, and they basically massacred all the indigenous people. They didn't coexist with them and give them special rights. No, they killed them all. So these guys, colonialists, who came in and massacred the indigenous population, are now playing victim that they're not getting special treatment. Special treatment by the New Zealand government anymore. Yeah. Isn't that just like everything that's been going on in the United States and the UK and elsewhere in Europe, right? All right, this is a report from Colorado Pack Rat. If you have updates, please do use the word update somewhere in your comment. That does get it to the right place. You can just post it on this video or on any video on this channel, and make sure you use that word. Colorado Pack Rat says, when the 5 dozen box of eggs at Walmart dropped to $11.98 a couple weeks ago, I bought 2 boxes, as I knew in a short time before the holidays, because watches this channel, that they would go sky high again. Last I checked, it's over $23 a box. So got it at $12 when it came down, and it's now back up to $23. Almost 2 for 1, right? Weeds31 says, good morning, Steve. I'm sorry, I can't do the accent, even though they built that into this comment. Up here in communist Canada, they're saying Canada, our Marxist government is about to throw another carbon tax at us. This time it's on anything that's imported. Sounds like a tariff, except it's not targeted. It's just a tax on you guys. Which seems to be just about everything. Migrant crime is also at an all-time high. That's not being reported, is it now? Also, pro-Palestinian freaks managed to disgrace our Remembrance Day and insulted our veterans nationwide. Leftists would never do that. They would never do that. Linda says, we went to our neighbor, a local egg farmer in northeast Pennsylvania. We could only get 2 dozen eggs instead of the regular 4. He said he went to order chicks, and there are none. He cannot get chicks. They told him they will put him on a list for next spring. He said he could get older hens for an increased price, but he couldn't make his money back if he did that. He's very concerned. It's a large farm, and he can't order chicks. Think about that. I've been telling you the egg situation is going sideways. And the fact that these farms that are culling millions of egg-laying hens are scrapping to replace their missing hens, they're draining the whole market of all the little chicks. This is going to get worse before it gets better, friends. So hopefully you've been stocking up on eggs, because it's probably going to go south from here. Pat says 3 days in a row and still no soy milk. This is at Aldi's in Denver, North Carolina. So not Colorado, North Carolina. Sherry says, Maryland, my local Walmart has large empty spaces in the children's clothing area. Shelves of various textiles and electronics are empty too. The canned seafood area was sparse, and the salmon has been thinning out. But this time there was no canned salmon. Usually there are at least 4 brands of salmon: Chicken of the Sea, Bumblebee, Tulip, and Faust, and Great Value. Not one can. Off that subject, is anyone noticing weaker, probably thinner garbage bags? I've had 2 in the last week or so develop holes and leak. Roger says, went to Walmart today. Great Value milk has jumped 20% in price in just the last 2 weeks. Milk prices up, egg prices up, salmon disappearing. Sounds like they're going to try crashing the whole system before Trump gets into office. We've been telling you, Trump getting into office is hopefully it will help in the long run, but in the short run, it's going to be a fight. And they're going to take it out on us. They're going to try punishing us. You hear all these libs out there on all these different platforms saying how much they want us to suffer so that we realize that we made the wrong choice. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They want us to suffer. And so apparently they're wanting to sabotage as much as they can. We may be seeing more of that coming out. And bureaucrats who just go around and happen to get a positive test on bird flu at a large farm with egg-laying hens, suddenly all those hens have to be culled, and it causes more problems so that more people suffer, so they realize how they made a big mistake on Trump. Yeah, funny how that works, isn't it? CEA says, my other half was on a work site yesterday in Northwest Arkansas and met with a couple of workers on site. One was from Russia, another was from Yugoslavia. Now, this may make your blood boil. If you're on blood pressure medication, you might want to skip forward about 30 seconds. They said that JB, or the resident, paid them to come. And as long as they hold a job for 6 months, they will become citizens. They are working in the trades arena. He said he was going to ask them more questions today. I don't know if that's true. They may be just under misconception, but the fact is they're saying that they got paid to come to the U.S. Russian, nonetheless. Yeah. Haven't we been hearing about how awful Russia is? And yet they're paying them to come into our country. How's that work? It's all posturing, friends. All posturing. Jan in Allentown says, picked up a jug of corn oil today. It was originally $6.99 and stickered over to now $9.99. I was lucky enough to root around and find one with the original price, but not sure where people think prices are only increasing 2 to 3% a year. It would be worth the trip. So if we can find out where in the United States it's only 2 to 3% inflation, perhaps we can all go there and shop together. That would be nice. That would be nice. I think it's in Fantasy World. That's where it is. Maybe it's like Epcot Center. I don't know. Lou's Northern Home says, went to do a pickup from Walmart, eggs, and they went from $8.73 for 36 up to $10.42 overnight. Almost a $2 jump overnight. Gas went up 22 cents overnight. No fat-free cottage cheese, and my Light and Fit yogurts have been out for 2 weeks. The Better milk has been out for a month. We're seeing a lot of issues out there trying to find organic milk. Ronnie says, the guy that we've been working for the last 10 years has been in the oil and energy business most of his life on the office end. And he still works for one of the largest oil and gas leasing companies in the country, plus his years in the military. He told me yesterday, while I was raking tons of leaves and doing hours of mowing, he told me yesterday, we have been so lied to about our country's energy. He said that we still have enough oil and coal to last another 1,000 years. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but yeah, I mean, we keep finding more. It's really a matter of tapping it through fracking, and there's oil and gas out there that's just not cost effective for us to recover, right? And the United States has more than enough natural gas coming out of the ground. In fact, they're having to plug up wells that would be producing natural gas because they have no way of exporting it. There's not enough terminals, there's not enough pipelines to get the natural gas out of these areas and get them out. So they're having to just basically cap them and, for future use. We have tons of natural gas, and natural gas is far more efficient with far less carbon than coal and oil out there. So, I mean, these greeny weenies should love the fact that we're using natural gas. I watched a video on them talking about how there's so much less carbon attached to the, when you burn natural gas per BTU, it releases like just so much less, like 1/10 of the carbon that if you burn oil comes off of it. And it's just the way the molecular structure is. And I'm not really a big believer in the whole carbon thing, but it's just that whole, if they really believed what they were saying, of all the developed countries out there, the only country that's actually hit its climate goals has been the United States. And that's because we've moved so much of our energy usage over to natural gas. And if we just moved more of our energy over to natural gas, we'd hit all of our climate targets. And that's just really, really burning our allies' butts. They really hate the fact that the United States can just burn natural gas cheaply and we hit our climate targets. I mean, really, you see through that these targets really aren't about reducing carbon. They're really about controlling the economy and making people suffer. Making people suffer so that they have to crawl to the government for assistance. It's not about reducing things, okay? Anyway, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there. Just fill out your information. They'll get in contact with you. You can always find their phone number down in the description down below, and every so often I put it up on a video too. So you can always reach out to them directly. Just make sure you mention this channel if you decide to move forward with them, because they do waive the setup fees, which saves you a whole bunch of money. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.